My name is Dean Steinbeck. I am the president co-founder at Horizen Labs. My role in this project has just mainly been on the sidelines, supervising and facilitating with our awesome product engineering team when needed. So I'll turn it over to you, Lou.
Hey, thanks, Dean. Yeah, as mentioned, my name is Luca Poni. I'm the lead engineer for the smart contracts team here at Horizen Labs, and our team here does a mix of advisory consulting services, mostly on Ethereum-based blockchains. We also do some internal Horizen ecosystem development as well. Me personally, I joined Horizen Labs a little over a year ago, and coming from a UI development background in some of my previous roles. And yeah, my involvement in the project was from a leadership standpoint and helping to assist the developers and engineers working on the team. And yeah, we had a great time and excited to be here. Happy to get to chat with you all. And I'll pass it over to whoever's next.
I think we're just waiting on one more to join. So maybe I'll even just while we're waiting, if you guys like, so how was the development experience? Did you guys enjoy the challenge of figuring out how to engineer the specification? How many iterations did you guys go through?
Yeah, I can jump in, from a high level. Yeah, we definitely enjoyed the process. It really started off by just looking at the AIPs and dissecting those into kind of some requirements and our Dom is joining now. He's our product manager. He played a big role there as well in terms of creating some solid actionable requirements that we could work off of. And yeah, there's a lot of iteration in the process, just working together with our designers and our developers, just coming to solutions on different edge cases and so forth. So yeah, it's been a good journey. We really enjoyed it, and we think it's going to be a fantastic product. I think that being said, I'll pass it over to Dom for just a little intro from his end as well.
Perfect. Hey, Dom.
Hey guys, I'm product manager on the smart contracts team. Helped lead the ape staking project. Um, yeah, my role was basically to uh, collaborate with all of the uh, all of the folks here to kind of get ape staking to where it is. So that goes from design to engineering to marketing, and just looking at what. The AIPs were kind of informing us as users. And yeah, so the role was basically taking everything from the AIPs and transforming them into technical requirements. And I think we really enjoyed that challenge because there was a lot of things that we had to uncover and also talk about and go through with um, the community. And I think we really wanted to build something in the spirit of what they were looking for and the goals that they were actually looking to achieve with this staking platform. So uh, the design process was pretty heavy. We wanted to focus on that really well. We wanted it to be very easy for someone to come to the site and really be walked through the process. We didn't want it to be cryptic in any way. Uh, a lot of DeFi platforms, or maybe some other platforms that people who are into crypto or own NFTs have worked with, there's a lot of figuring out that needs to be done, and we didn't want to take that approach. We wanted it to be very self-explanatory for a user to come in and get to know and understand the product. And we wanted to build it for the users. I think that was a big uh, effort on our part.
Well, I'm excited to discuss more about the process and the product. I can attest that it's definitely easy and intuitive from a user experience perspective. But I think I just want to top of the question lines here and just get right into it. Do we have, or can you guys provide a public update on timeline that you can share and just tell the community what's going on and what we can expect and how we can expect these things to start rolling out?
Yeah, I'll take that one. So first, I just want to thank everybody here for your patience. I know we had a Spaces scheduled, previously that was canceled, and everybody was frustrated, understandably. Our team, did their best to mitigate some of that by releasing technical docs and a video, which I think was helpful, and I hope alleviated some of the questions. But super happy to be here and finally getting into the meat and potatoes of the protocol and the questions that you guys have. In terms of timeline, so just to take a step back for people who maybe aren't following this as closely as others, AAP's 21-22 passed in May. It took a little bit of time before Horizen Labs was hired. There was a vetting process. We had to put together specs, a budget, pass legal. So there was a probably longer than hoped for process to finally get that done. But we started in July, and since then it's been heads down, full speed ahead. I think Lou and Dom and their teams have done a great job. Pretty early on, we identified the week of October 31st as the deploy date, and decided that October 31st would have been the perfect deploy date. What better day than Halloween for something going live in the ApeCoin ecosystem. As a lot of you are probably familiar by now, the bug bounty proposal passed, and that did result in a minor delay. So the way things stand now, if no bugs or no critical bugs are found during the bug bounty, I believe there's a deploy date scheduled for 11/24, which happens to fall on Thanksgiving. So my guess is we'll probably push that to the Monday following Thanksgiving. So deploy date as it stands now is the Monday following Thanksgiving, again, pending the outcome of the bug bounty. Again, just to reiterate, so once we deploy the smart contract, there will be a 2-week pre-commitment period. I know a lot of people have questions about that timeline, like why is it 2 weeks? Why not 2 days? And the initial intent was to, number one, ensure that there was no gas war for people trying to commit their assets to the smart contract. And two, primarily to let people in the community who aren't following this as closely as most of us are, to have time to move their assets from, perhaps they're holding ApeCoin on a centralized exchange, to move their assets into the necessary wallets to be able to participate. So that's where we're at now. And obviously happy to answer any questions as we move forward. Thanks, Brandon.
Sweet. So I definitely have questions, and I'm just going to keep going through a little list that I've come up with, and just try and make sure I get them out and make sure you guys have the opportunity to explain all the different dynamics that have kind of gone into all the pieces. But I do love the idea that we're launching on Thanksgiving or fairly close to Thanksgiving. Seems like an apt coordination there. But maybe if I can just ask for a little bit more insight on how someone can get started with staking, what it looks like to participate in staking, what will people need to do in order to do the staking, and kind of what this deposit period starts looking like.
So yeah, I could take this one. Basically, all you'll really need is a wallet that holds some ApeCoin. There are 4 pools you could participate in. One of the pools don't require you to really have any other asset other than ApeCoin. and the website is built in such a way that when you are going through there, every step of the process, you understand exactly what's happening with your assets. And we try to make it as clear as possible what is happening at each step. So we've also built a user guide for the community to make that easy. Um, and if you wanted to just participate in the ApeCoin pool, all you would need is just some ApeCoin, and you would be able to stake it within that pool. If you own any of the NFTs that could be used for this, whether a Bored Ape, a Mutant Ape, or a Kennel, there are pools dedicated to each one of those. And what it means is you just use that in conjunction with any ApeCoin that you might have, and you'll be able to stake a position in any one of those pools. Um, so that's pretty much it. It's pretty self-explanatory. I think that we wanted to make it so that when you are interacting with the app itself, you know at each step of the way not only what's happening, but what you should be concerned about or warned of. So we make it very clear with the language what is going on. So fairly simple there.
And so in order to stake into a pool, I would have a BAYC or MAYC in my public key, and then the ape in that public key, and you guys would verify and that I have the BAYC and I can put into the pool.
Yeah, exactly. So one thing to kind of talk about as well is that the ape staking platform is very unique in the sense that um, your NFTs are not locked to the contract. The NFT is just basically a key proving that you own the rights to any position that is opened. Now, that's a bit of a powerful feature, but what comes with that is that there is some responsibility on the owner of the NFT. That if an NFT is sold, because it's not locked to the contract, it can be sold. Um, and we strongly advise that if you do have an open position, it's your responsibility is to close that position out in order to retrieve any staked or ape coin that you put within a position, any unclaimed rewards that you have. So you could sell a NFT, and the new owner of that NFT would have rights to any position that's open. So it's a really important thing that you should know as a user, and it's something that we try to spell out very clearly anytime you do a commitment into any of the pools. Um, so yeah.
And the four pools are obviously just naked ape, I guess, naked ape coin. So no relationship to an NFT, a BAYC pool, an MAYC pool, and then a kennel pool as well, which requires you to prove you have a kennel and an ape of some sort. Just right, those are the four pools that we have. So I just, how did you develop these pools? I know they were cited in the original AIP. How did you go about thinking about them and then actually designing a product around the specification that was created for you?
Yeah, so design around the pools itself were pretty self-explanatory in the AIP. What our team tried to do is build technical like implementation that um, really fell in line with what the AIPs were looking for. So really, what they wanted was a key to open up a staking position if you owned an NFT. And one of the challenges we actually had was with the Bored Ape Kennel Club pool. So we have four pools. There's the ApeCoin pool, which you don't really need um, any NFT to participate in. There's a Bored Ape Yacht Club pool, which would require you to have a Bored Ape. And each one of these pools all have caps associated to it, except for the ApeCoin pool. So any of the NFT pools, the Bored Ape Yacht Club pool, the Mutant Ape Yacht Club pool, and the Kennel Ape Yacht Club pool all have caps associated to it. So with that, we needed to also understand like what the technical limitations were, and we wanted that to be very explanatory within the UI as well. For instance, if you try to put in more ApeCoin than what the allotted amount was in the pool, we had to put limitations in place, both in the smart contract, but also in the UI itself, and really let the user know like what's happening. One of the challenges we faced was with the kennel pool. The AIPs were specifying this to be sort of a dual NFT pool where you would have to pair two NFTs to participate. And even in the AIPs, they were it was explained as like the Bored Ape Kennel Club pool, but we wanted to update the naming convention of that just to make it more self-explanatory as to like what is actually happening in that pool. Basically, you're pairing two pools, so we wanted that to be explicit. So what happens is you pair your kennel with either a mutant ape that you own, but also a you could also do it with a Bored Ape. And we also wanted it to be explanatory as far as like the relationship with the pools itself. So the pools are independent from each other. Participating in one doesn't affect anything in the other. And we wanted that to also be explanatory. Um, so just reading off the AIPs, it could be interpreted in several ways, and we didn't want to leave any room for that for any interpretation. We wanted it to be like very straightforward what you were um, getting involved in. And we could talk about the kennel club and the paired pool in a little bit more detail because it does operate a little bit differently than the others. If you would like to go into that.
Yeah, I think that would be, I think that'd be great to just outline. I guess since this is like the edge case pool, maybe a bit more details on how that one works. What happens if somebody accidentally sells their kennel, their kennel and forgets to unstake or anything like that?
Yeah. So in the AIPs, because this was a paired pool, it wasn't necessarily explicit what to do if one of those NFTs were sold. Basically, what you would have is like a situation where two people could potentially own the rights to a staking position in that pool specifically. So um, we came up with the community came up with a solution for that, which was um, that the owner of either the Bored Ape or the mutant ape in that pair would be able to pull out the staked amount, and the owner of the kennel would get any unclaimed rewards up until that time. So that's the solution that we came up with, and that's just a good thing to note. We also wanted to make it easy, so we didn't want a situation where there'd be a technical implementation where someone would be locked in any way, shape, or form. So we also took the AIPs and created a technical implementation so that it was easy for somebody to break the pair, let's say. So we didn't want a situation where you needed to own both of the assets in order to break the pair, because if you had sold it, you'd basically be stuck in a situation where no one would be able to pull out funds. So either owner, if one of those NFTs in the pair were to be sold or given to a new owner, either one of those people could break that pair. And get either the staked amount if you're the mutant ape or Bored Ape holder, or get the unclaimed rewards if you were the kennel holder. Whoever breaks the pair also gets the airdrop. Also has to airdrop the specific amount to the opposing owner. Uh, so, for instance, if I owned a Bored Ape and a specific kennel, and I was opened up a position in that pool for 100 ape, let's say, and I had sold the kennel. Basically, what would happen is the kennel would be able to break the pair, receive any unclaimed rewards, and then there would be an airdrop to the staked amount to the owner of the Bored Ape in that instance. So we wanted to build a solution that was like very self-explanatory, and we could easily explain that to a user.
And I think one of the innovations here, or one of the interesting pieces, is the NFTs themselves, and the fact that everybody wants to keep their NFTs safe for obvious reasons, and the requirement to have these NFTs in order to stake was obviously written in the specification, but we obviously don't want to take custody, or the contract would never want to take custody of these. So you guys built a pretty innovative way of just validating that that the NFT is in the wallet where the ApeCoin is. But maybe Lou, do you want to spend a little time talking about how the NFTs interact with ApeCoin staking, and how we should expect rewards and things to come together?
Sure. Yeah, I can go into that. So NFTs, the way that they interact with the platform, you guys mentioned it a little bit about what was laid out in the AIP in regards to this new novel way of staking, where you're not truly locking up your assets in a third-party contract, which is a good thing. It reduces risk, and it gives users more protection there. That being said, NFTs are not necessarily a requirement for using the platform. As we've mentioned, there is the ApeCoin pool, which only requires ApeCoin itself to participate. So it does widen the opportunity for more involvement. Now, when it comes to this idea of using your NFT to open a position, it uses this concept, which has been coined as committing, and it's kind of in opposition to the idea of staking or locking your asset in a contract. So committing really is just the concept of requiring proof of ownership at the time of a stake, and then at the time of any type of action. So a withdrawal, a claim, etc. So we leverage the blockchain data just to look up the ownership of that NFT at the moment that the action is being taken, and we can confirm that if it's actually that user who is the owner of that asset is the one taking the action. So in that case, we never have to take custody of the NFTs, and it does allow just for the owners of the NFTs to participate in such a way that is not going to put their assets subject to contract risk. So that being said, each NFT type, each collection is associated to a different pool with unique reward amounts that are being distributed over time, and that is kind of ranked, from Bored Apes receiving the most rewards, and kind of going down to MAYC, and then down to the kennels as well. And those amounts are also specified in the AIP for year 1, and then there will be votes and things for years 2, 3, and 4. One last feature is the ability to add to a position. So let's say a certain position is created. There is the ability to send more coins to that position without necessarily being the owner. And what this allows you to do is, I guess there's a few different use cases that could be applied here, but one of the main ones is to help folks who have multiple wallets, and perhaps they'd like to do their initial stake with their ledger, but then over time, if they get more coins to stake, they can do so with like a hot wallet, and they can just add to their position without having to show ownership of the NFT. So that feature could be used for other purposes as well. If you want to send a gift to someone in the community, feel free. But yeah, the ability to add to a certain position is more of a public function.
I was just at ETHSF, and one of the participants there had built on top of the testing network, and I guess they had a pool of people that would contribute to the original staked amount, and it was like through a multi-sig setup, and then anybody can contribute, and then as the assets came out, they were distributed back to anybody that contributed. So they were like pooling their assets to stake, and then they had a contract that when it came out of stake, they distributed the rewards themselves. So I can see like a lot of use cases, and I can imagine developers are going to continually build on top of that feature, and are arguably on top of the platform in and of itself.
Yeah, and one thing to add lastly to that feature, just a warning to folks, don't ever natively transfer ApeCoin to the contract, or using something like MetaMask just to send. Make sure you're always interacting with the smart contract functions themselves, and not accidentally sending funds to the contract, because that those will be for the most part unrecoverable.
Yeah, I think that's probably an important thing that we should just touch on. There's no if it's not gone through the functions of the contract, there are no keys to like to sign transactions with, or execute any transactions out with. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. There's and this was a conversation that went on internally, and was brought before the special counsel. This idea of should there be some form of administrator who can somehow control the funds in any way, and there was pros and cons to both ways of doing it, but we ultimately decided not to have an administrator and make this fully free of any type of admin keys, and really kind of the blockchain native ethos. So that's the direction we went. That being said, I think there are some creative ways that we could work with users who perhaps have lost some funds due to this, by sending to the contract accidentally. So I think that's something we can work with on a individual basis, but we'll kind of take that as it comes.
Excellent. And Dom, maybe you want to maybe just go through the values. How can you check how much staked ApeCoin is connected to an NFT? Can you check if there's ApeCoin connected to any NFTs before you buy or sell it through this platform? So as users continue to transact with their NFTs, with their BAYCs and MAYCs, will folks be able to go look and see if that ape is part of a staking pool?
Yeah, so essentially, if you've staked any of your positions wherever you're at, like say you were committing to the Bored Ape pool, for instance, if you're connecting to the site with your wallet, with that where that's located, that asset is located, basically you'll be shown a dashboard with all of your positions associated to that wallet. And that's a really good place to kind of organize everything. And you'll see each position that you have opened, how much is staked to that position, how much rewards have been accumulated up until that point. So that's one way. But because these positions are public, and um, you know assets could be transferable, because you could basically transfer asset like an NFT, and a new owner could then take that position. We've built a market tools page, which allows you to kind of search for any of the NFTs that you're looking at purchasing, and basically be able to see if there's any open positions for that NFT. And from that page as well, that's where we provide the ability for you to also um, deposit into that position, going with what Lou was speaking about prior. So from the market tools page, not only can you look at what positions are open for specific NFTs, but you'll also be able to add to positions. Say, if you wanted to just search for an NFT that you own and see what the reward structure has been like, and you didn't want to connect your wallet that owns all of the NFTs, you'd be able to do that. And then another feature there that we've provided is that you could also search by wallet address. So if you did have a wallet that had all these assets and you didn't want to always connect it, and you wanted to kind of see what all your positions, you could enter your wallet address, and it'll show all the positions associated to that wallet, including the ApeCoin pool. So all the pools there. And something to note here too is that because we provided these, you would basically call them like read functions. There could be a time where possibly like uh, a, an OpenSea would be able to maybe integrate that into um, the pages where a Bored Ape yacht club is sold, and maybe they could pull that information and show it there as well. Um, so that's another area where the contract could be extended for like enhanced usage.
Cool. And I guess as part of, I just want to make sure that we like spend a little bit, as much time as possible on the staking and unstaking, or committing and uncommitting these NFTs and what happens. So how would you uncommit your ApeCoin from your NFT if you want to sell your NFT but hold on to your ApeCoin? Is there a process to do that, or should people be aware of somebody makes them a good offer for their ape? Should they sell that ape? Or can they sell that ape but still keep the ApeCoin in a pool, or how does that work?
Yeah, so similarly to opening up a position, we basically are using the terminology committing. You're committing your NFT. It doesn't mean it's being locked into a contract, but similarly to committing and opening a position, to close out a position, you also have to prove that you're the owner, for obvious reasons. Um, so we strongly advise that people do not sell their NFT while there's an open position there. We strongly advise that you uh, pretty much go to the dashboard within the website and uncommit your NFT. And the process for doing that is very straightforward. You would basically go into the dashboard, and there's a withdraw all function, and you'll be met with a message that says something to the effect of, hey, you're withdrawing all of the ApeCoin within this position. That means that your position will be closed, and all of the ApeCoin that is staked will be removed, but also all of the ApeCoin that had all of the rewards that have been unclaimed up until that point will also be removed and sent to you. Um, so yeah, that's basically how you would go about doing that. You could, in effect, also just while we strongly advise against this, you could just basically sell it with the position open if you wanted the new owner to also get rights to that position. Uh, you know, um, so there's that ability as well.
Yeah, if you sold the ape as part of it being in a staking pool, and people could then, whoever bought it would then, maybe it puts a premium on the price, or they can go and claim that ape coin after. What types of rewards will people get? Are there incentives to stake ApeCoin at particular times? How does this all work?
Yeah, so the reward structure isn't that complex. Basically, each quarter, there is a specific amount of ApeCoin attributed to each of the pools, and that's noted in EAPs, but also on the website. And basically, your rewards are based on two things: how many people are uh, in the pool at any given time, and how much you are committing to that pool. So it's basically divided to the amount that you have staked in relation to everybody else, and how many other people are staked within that pool. So what we've actually provided on the site as well, it's just like helpful tools, is while you're staked to a position, uh, we give an estimate in the amount of rewards you would receive at any given day. Um, Within a 24-hour period. Also, we have like a pool overview page that tells you how many people are committed to the pool, like how much ApeCoin is actually committed, and the participants. So you'll be able to get that information to estimate a bit on how you will receive rewards. Just note that rewards are dished out every hour, and the pools are constantly changing. So we wanted to give those values to users in like a short time window, and not say something like how much rewards you will receive in a year, because that would be not accurate, right? So to make it as accurate as possible, we've basically given out reward estimates in 24-hour periods.
And I know Dean covered this a little bit earlier, but I just think it might be worth having just a further expansion on the pre-deposit period. What does it mean? What does it mean for the average person looking to stake? And any logic around implementing that?
Sure, yeah, I can jump in there. So from a pre-deposit standpoint, really all it means is that the contract will be live and the users can start interacting with the functions in terms of depositing, creating initial stakes, and doing all of the what you would expect to do on the platform. But we would not have started the reward distribution just yet. So just a note on how that works. We have distinct the ability to, as Dom mentioned, control the amount of rewards that are being given out per pool, and then over a given time period, because we know that those are going to change, say in quarter 2 and so on. Really what's happening is the pre-deposit period is just the period of time before the first quarter officially starts. So there's really not any super special logic to it. It really follows the behavior that you will start to receive rewards once you are entering into one of these specific time ranges where rewards will be distributed. And a little more detail on like how that's done. It's happening on a hourly basis. So essentially, if you stake in the beginning of an hour and someone else stakes, let's say 30 minutes after you in that same hour, those two positions will be treated basically as the same because they fall into the same sub period. So essentially, that's a little bit high level, but really the key point there is that the pre-deposit period is just a period of time before the rewards officially start. And as Dean mentioned, it gives everyone a chance to kind of get their wallets in order, things of that nature. And it kind of follows the ethos of being fair and equitable across the community and not giving any advantage to anyone who kind of quote unquote got there first. That's really not what this protocol is designed for. So that's kind of the guiding principles we used from like a pre-deposit period standpoint.
Appreciate that. So one question I have, I guess we spent a lot of time talking about it, but is pretty important to like the function of the DAO as a whole is if people commit their ApeCoin to a staking pool, will they still be able to vote in AIPs?
Yeah, I can answer that as well. And the short answer is yes. And I think what's really going on here is that this whole protocol is designed for community involvement and engagement and bringing people into the community to interact with the different pieces of utility offered in the ecosystem. So to make users choose between voting and staking, I don't think would be preferable to anyone. So in this case, we did build a special smart contract that integrates with the Snapshot platform, and it will tell Snapshot to look at the staking contract and to find out the total of ApeCoin staked across all the pools. So that's ApeCoin and the NFT pools as well. You'll get kind of a total of all of your ApeCoin there as well. And yeah, it'll allow users to kind of derive the amount of votes that they'd be eligible for an AIP. So the way that would look for a user is essentially if you hover over in Snapshot right now over the votes and you see there's different groupings and categories like locked, etc. There's going to be a new one that says staked, and you'll be able to vote and delegate those coins as well. And the last note on AIPs and the DAO and voting is that in the unique situation that a pair from the pair pool has been split, the votes are all going to go to the BAYC or MAYC that are part of the pair. So that's one thing to note.
So I guess, obviously I know that you guys have spent a lot of time thinking about all these edge cases and use cases and everything else, but I just maybe wanted to spend a quick minute on like the protocol itself. So, most of the work in any engineering project is typically in the back end, validating user input, validating what's going on, running the process itself. The UX obviously is just as important to make sure that users have a clear understanding of how to interact with the logic that ultimately sits on the back end. But I guess I wonder, since you have done an amazing job of building an actual platform, a number of different contracts that come together to actually implement this staking, and I guess really it's a protocol in and of itself. Have you guys, and maybe Dean, this is best for you, but have you guys been seeing a lot of developer outreach? Have people been building on top? Has anybody reached out to you? Like I said, at ETHSF, I saw some people already kind of getting excited, engineers already getting excited about building pools. A couple of the NFT platforms out there that are associated with ApeCoin have reached out to me and told me about their integrations that they're going to implement. So maybe Dean, I'll switch over to you, but I'm sure I've been contacted a couple of times, so I'm sure you've got a buzz or kind of can talk about what's going on.
Yeah, good question, Brandon. So just to reiterate, what our team has built is, both an open source smart contract on Ethereum, on the Ethereum blockchain, and an awesome, front end user interface. But the smart contract, is open source and available for anyone to interact with. So what that means is that, lots of third parties, I believe, will be building their own user interface to connect directly with the smart contract. And in fact, I'm told from more technical people that you don't actually need user interface at all if you have the technical skills. But yeah, so I expect many third parties to have, their own staking platforms. So meaning the front end that connects to the smart contract. I've already been notified by many asking questions, and Lou and Dom and our team have been really helpful. So we've released all of the technical documentation, a link to the testnet smart contract, and very forthcoming with any questions that developers might have. I personally am excited because I know that there is, in addition to many CeFi and DeFi platforms that will be building their own user interface that connects to the smart contract, I know that there's a really security first builder that has built a downloadable app that will also provide user interface. So it will work very much like if people are familiar with a downloadable crypto wallet in the same way. So you can just download the app onto your computer and be able to interact directly through the app into the smart contract. So I guess to answer your question, Brandon, yes, I expect there to be many options available for our community. Obviously, we at Horizen Labs are very proud of the user interface that we built, and I hope that everyone here will appreciate that and be able to use it. But yeah, I think there will be others, and as was mentioned before, I think a lot of other builders plan to add features to their platform that maybe don't exist on ours. And so one of them that's been that we've talked about a little bit is the pairing feature. But there are a number of other features that developers think will add value to the community and make the staking platform more useful for community members.
I think that's the part that I don't. I love the interface that you guys built, and it's amazing. But the developer in me loves building on top of platforms, and ultimately, I think credit where credit is due that you guys have built a extendable platform that people can layer new functionality on top of. I think that is really how ecosystems get formed once the base is in place, and people have new use cases and use the engineers use their imagination to come up with new feature sets that weren't originally anticipated. So I'm kind of excited about I'm pretty excited to see what other people have built or will build. And like I said, at ETHSF, I've already seen a few things, and also some people have reached out to me and told me what they're doing as well. So I'm very confident about the entire platform, and then rather than just the platform, the ecosystem as a whole around staking and what's gonna come out of it. So kind of exciting to think about. Maybe
I
just
just
like,
wanted. Oh, hey,
sorry, go ahead.
yeah.
Go
I
ahead.
just wanted to. I just wanted to add too is in the spirit of decentralization, that's what these smart contracts are enabling other folks to kind of participate there, and our stance on that is that we want it to be very open with providing that. So we've also, if anybody's interested, on our YouTube channel, we provided basically a technical walkthrough of how to interact with smart contracts itself, because we want others to build on top of that. We do provide like even some suggestions at the end on some cool ideas for how to add additional value to the smart contracts that were originally built. So we're looking forward to seeing other people do that.
I guess thinking of that, I guess that's a perfect segue into my next question is like, what's been the most interesting challenges, edge cases you've had to think through or think about? And then if there's any, maybe, obviously you alluded to in the video, was there anything that you kind of thought, oh, we should build this next, or we'd love to see the community build this feature next, or anything like that?
Yeah, so just to answer the first question is, what was interesting about basically working on this project. So I think the team had a lot of fun, particularly. Well, the first thing is, deciphering the requirements and building a technical solution in the spirit of what the community was really looking for, and we wanted to provide the most easy way to use and interact with the staking platform. And like one of the things that we were thinking about was, obviously there's a lot of staking platforms out there, DeFi platforms, and not only were we looking at how to provide the best user interface, but also do something that is going sort of above and beyond the current status quo, I guess you would say, with Web3 products that are out there. We wanted to see like what can we do better to like really provide users with the best experience. So a lot of what we were intending to do was really just walk users through and provide them with the understanding of what it is they're interacting with. So throughout the application, you'll find that and whenever you make an action, for instance, when you before you commit your NFT, we make it very clear, like, hey, you're about to commit an NFT. This is what is happening. We advise you to sell, if you were to sell this, to close out this position, things like that. We wanted it to be informative, so that there was nothing kind of going on behind the scenes that a user didn't understand. So yeah, now for the second question, there's a lot of users out there that own multiple NFTs. So It wasn't explicit in the AAPs, and I think the team would have wanted to work on this if we were able to dish it out in enough time. But we were also very conscious of the fact that the community was really looking to start using this. But because the smart contracts are open to be built on top of, one feature that we could think of is um, batch uploading. That's not something that's provided within the application as it's built now. So basically, if you own multiple NFTs and you didn't want to, one by one open up staking positions for each one of them, there could be a application out there that's built that can provide that functionality to you. It does get quite complex as well. Just let everyone know, like, because of the paired pools and the caps and things like that. So there's a lot of intricacy within this, and I think the team had a lot of fun kind of uh, going through that and building something unique. I could pass it off to Lou to talk about some other things that could be built on there, like from his side. What was interesting about working on this?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Dom. Yeah, we did face a few technical challenges that were kind of interesting to think through and come up with solutions for. One of them was around just the general idea of how to distribute the rewards kind of equally across a time period. So in this case, we're looking at quarters, so like 90 to 91 days. And just to take a step back, we leveraged a lot of the really great work that was done by the Sushi Swap team building out their staking protocol, and their platform leverages block numbers to determine rewards. But in this case, we were in a position where we had to try to estimate the amount of blocks that would fill up a given quarter. And it ended up just being kind of a solution that had friction, and we would have to potentially update it in real time if our estimation was too far off. So we came up with a new solution that leveraged um, timestamps instead, and we kind of re-architected the same ethos that was used inside the MasterChef V2 contract, but we ported over the ability to leverage a finite time period, like an hour, as opposed to a period that was not fixed, like a block. So at the time, this was pre-merge, and then we were looking at post-merge and how this would all play out. So, but our solution to use timestamps over blocks really brought us to a kind of cleaner place, and we can estimate exactly to the end of a given quarter this way. So there's no need for any type of live updates. We also faced a pretty interesting challenge um, where our auditor came to us and said, there's an issue happening. He was going through some, I would say, Monte Carlo-like simulations on the contract, and he kept coming up with this issue where um, some of our math was causing what's called an underflow. So some of the engineers here might know what that is. It's essentially where an integer basically will, if you go below zero, it will wrap around all the way to the max amount. So this was happening for some of our calculations, and it was causing users to be locked out and not able to receive their funds. And this was an extreme edge case, but it just speaks to the importance of having a good relationship with your auditing firm. And for us, we use Halborn Security, and they've always been just really able to integrate with us and really be with us every step of the way throughout these processes. So we're really thankful to them that they spotted this edge case and caused us to be able to come up with a solution and test it and be confident moving forward. The last piece was on the UI side, where we had a challenge with working with Gnosis Safe via Wallet Connect, and we were seeing that our transactions just weren't completing, and we ended up reaching out to the developers on the open source library that we were leveraging, and that's used app. So shout out to their team. They built a really fantastic library for UIs integrating with Ethereum EVM-based blockchains. And I just made a comment on one of the PRs, and I said, "Hey, is this fix going to be released?" and that type of thing. And they were really forthcoming and said, "Hey, yeah, we'll get a release out today," and that solved the issue. So what that speaks to is just the really cool part about just the open source community and their ability to kind of step in, and it really makes the process feel a lot more open. And we're a private company and we do proprietary software development, but we're also in this kind of hybrid mode of releasing what are inherently open source contracts and things of that nature. So some really cool collaboration happening overall.
I think that's the I think that's the piece that gets me excited is the open source nature and building on top of everybody else's amazing work, and obviously giving them credit for the things they've done and leveraging their work to build on top. And I think that's the kind of the entire ecosystem's ethos is what we're trying to do, is just collaborate together through open source and Web3 and build platforms that other people can build on top of. I guess we've coming up to the hour here, so maybe I'll just ask one last thing: is anything that you guys would like to the community know? Anything I didn't ask or cover? Anything you want to make sure it gets articulated in this space?
I mean, I'll just jump in and just say to everybody here that we really appreciate the passion and the interest in what we're doing, and really are excited and have put in a lot of work and effort and blood, sweat, and tears into making this the best product that we possibly could. So appreciate everything that you guys do, and hope that we will live up to all the expectations.
Dom, Lou, any final words of wisdom?
Yeah, just really looking forward to people using this. I think this ecosystem and smart contract culture that we have now is that it's really changing things very quickly. So just looking forward to keep building on top of all of this. And as Lou had stated, even during the development of this, we had to kind of all work together with parties that weren't associated to Horizen Labs, that really kind of even came through to providing features that would be really helpful, like Gnosis Safe. And I think that's sort of what it's all about. And I do think that we also stepped up our game a little bit as well, as far as providing a good user experience. And I think that's something that's going to keep growing in the, I guess, NFT space and DeFi community, which is really gearing products that are easily understandable. And hopefully we've also kind of pushed forward in that direction as well.
And nothing really more to add from my end. I think it was said really well by Dean and Dom, and I just wanted to say thanks. And our team is humbled and thankful that we got a chance to work on this project. And just thank you all for your time today and for listening. And we'll hopefully get to speak again soon.
Sweet. Well, thank you everybody for joining. Thanks for to Horizen for building this and all the amazing work you guys have done. Very happy with everything that's come together. The only parting wisdom that I would have is make sure you uncommit your NFT before selling it, or make sure you extract the value of the sale if you're selling it with the NFT in the pool. And make sure you could take that into consideration as you go forward. But other than that, thanks everybody for your time, and looking forward to seeing what's next. Bye.
Thanks all.
Thanks, guys.